Alright, welcome back, and this is Wei, and let's just draw this. I haven't drawn some anatomy for a while, so let's just draw this little bicep area, kind of chest area, just to work out some of the shadows and how we can shade kind of muscle overall. Alright, so it's actually kind of fun. I haven't done this for a while, so I'm just going to draw in. See, so this is going to be the chest, the pecs muscle, I think. And I don't know what the names are, so I'm just gonna say this part or that part. Okay, so here's the shoulder, and here's the biceps. I'm just kind of dividing it up into bigger chunks right now, and then I'll connect everything. And then the arm's gonna come down here. So here's the elbow, the bone right here. So I'm just gonna roughly do this because the part that's gonna be fun is the shading part. Okay, so let's see here. Obviously highly exaggerated muscles. Okay. I'll clean this up so you guys can see what I'm actually sketching here. All right, so here's the armpit. Here's the big bulge right here, the bicep. I'm just gonna draw in some lines real quick so you can see what I'm drawing. So here's the chest. This thing goes up. Here's the middle. There's a shadow coming down here. Then there's gonna be two bulges in here. Okay, let's work on the top here. Shoulder coming down, one bump here, and then another one on the back here, which is really crazy, I guess. Okay, and then coming down here, I think that's called the triceps, right? The one on the back. Comes down here, there's a big bulge right here, and then here's the bone. And we just skip this because this is going to be the hand. Okay, so we just ignore that. So we're just going to concentrate on this part right here. Okay, let's see, shadow here. Okay. All right, so this one's got interesting lighting here, so that's why I think makes for a good example here. So let's just start shading around here. So the light's coming from the top. So here's the highlight for this. And it's gonna fade around here, and here's the terminator right here. So this is like a little ball right here. Literally, it's like a little ball, okay? So this part right here is gonna come down here, little bump here, and then for the chest right here, here's this other circle. It's a little bit flatter, but here's the terminator, so right around here. So I'm just adding in some of these lines right now, just so I can see where things are. It's gonna come up. Here's a shadow coming down here, and this dips in, and then this is gonna be, so all this right here is gonna be dark. And the chest right here coming down, so this part's gonna be dark as well. So I'm just gonna, there's some there's some extreme lighting here. So here's the midpoint. All right, so just correcting that. So here's the terminator coming down, and this kind of fades off. So let me see one more here. Let's draw one more right here. So here's another ball right here. So here's the terminator, so right around here. Okay, so let me shade this in real quick. I'm just gonna give this one shade. Now there's a lot of reflective lighting here. So by shading this, it will give me kind of like a good sense of the form here. So this is all gonna be in shadow. And whatever detail we see in here is because of reflective lighting. Okay, so somewhat of a clean shading style, I guess, right now. Let's see some back here. And then for the arms, a little bit tricky because there's all right, let's skip the arm for now. Let's concentrate on this area. So now that we have the terminator here, let's start adding in some of the overall shading. So this part's gonna be slightly darker here because the highlight's right here. So I'm just gonna give another shade around the highlight. This part, there's no hard highlight here, so I'm just gonna give another shade. So here's the highlight for this part. So I'm gonna blend this out right here. And then on the back right here, all right, let's do a little bit of shading right here. All right, so now that I have this, let's exaggerate these areas right here. Kind of gotten rid of some of the lines right here. So here's the terminator. This part is really dark. Okay, so right here is a little bit interesting here. So this part right here is the reflective light, and this right here is actually the shadow from up top. And the shadow tends to be always a little bit darker than what's in the shade. I know it's a little bit of a, kind of have to think about that a little bit. That tends to be the case. So basically, let's see how I can explain it. Like if you have, let's say, a box, and then here's the shadow. So here's the light, right? So this part here is in the shade. So the shadow should be always a little bit darker than this part here, what's in the shade. So basically that's what it means. So anything that has a shadow should be darker than what's in the shade. And when you look at this, now it looks a little bit more realistic, right? Because the shadow is darker. So that's kind of the idea. All right, let's keep going here. All right, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Okay, so here's the terminator. Let's hit that hard again. So this part is really dark right here. So I'm just gonna hit that. So here's the terminator right here, and we can exaggerate this, and there's a little bounce light up here. This part is darker because it's facing down more. And then this part, we have some extreme lighting here. So this is gonna be a huge, actually I can get that in right now. So there's a real bright rim lighting right on the side here. Okay, so there's more here, more rim lighting right here. But let's skip that right now because I don't want to concentrate too much on the little details for now. Okay, so again, here's the terminator. So let's exaggerate that a little bit. This part's darker down here. Here's the reflective light, right? The bottom is like the bottom of the ball right there. Okay, highlight here. This part's a little bit darker, and then this part's darker as well. So now I'm just seeing little patches. Okay, so let's come back to here because this part's interesting because this right here in here is really dark. So that's gonna help bulge this muscle out, I guess. You know, a little bit of contrast here. So because it's gonna be darker in here. I'm seeing a patch right here. There's a muscle right here. This part is really dark right here. So again, one little piece of muscle right here, and what we're seeing here is just reflective light. One more, and I'm just doing this. I know I'm getting lazy, I'm just doing these little circles. And one more down here, and here's the little line here, the little crease. Slightly darker here. And then it fades out, but this part's a little bit lighter. I guess it's catching the light from the arm. So the light is hitting the arm and it's bouncing back here. So this part's a little bit lighter right here. And you kind of have to do that because that's going to really give the form a little bit more realism. You know, when you catch when you're shading the bounce lights, it really helps. So just a matter of observation. Okay, so really hot highlight right here. Okay, so here's the nipple. We gotta get that in. Be good for reference. So we know where things are. Okay, so here's a shadow right here. So the more the more I'm sketching in, shading in, the more I start to see little things. And sometimes I want to go in and just kind of grind to it, but then at the same time it's like I kind of want to move around so you don't get caught up into one area, because you want the whole drawing to kind of I guess be consistent. You don't want too much detail in one and then in some areas kind of crappy. Alright, so this part right here is dark. So I think the consistency is important. That's why you kind of want to work around. Okay, so right here it's going to be in the shade right here. So we can kind of ignore that. There's not much going on anyways. But let's make this part a little bit darker right here, because that's going to help pop out the arm, the shoulder. Okay, again, here's the extreme rim lighting on the back right here. And then there's going to be a highlight right here. All right, let's come back down here. This is much more interesting. All right. So again, this is going to be the central part right here. I really like this contrast right here. Just brings out everything. So let's concentrate on that a little bit more. Okay, so let's keep going down here then. All right, so the arm right here is a little bit more complicated. Hold on, let me fix this. All right, so I think there's just a little bit more here. This part's interesting too. This bounce light right here is actually really cool. Okay, so here again, here's the shadow. This is a shadow from this, and this is in the shade. So the shade is lighter. Let's give this one more shade. Sorry, I want to move down there, but just like this thing is pulling me. It's telling me, no, you gotta fix this. All right, let's move down here. Let's finish up this part and then we can go back up and add in all those cool little details. All right, so the arm right here has a lot of stuff going on. So let's see, there's a big bulge here. There's one here. There's a line coming through here. And then, yeah, this part. Arms are really complicated because there's so many long, I guess long muscle strands. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's just go for this right here. So let's do this one. This one comes up here. Here's the highlight. So I'm gonna have to shade in this a little bit. Kind of goes up a little bit, and there's a huge vein here, which is throwing me off. All right, let's just hit that vein then. Might be good for reference, so we know where things are. Highlight on the vein, and then there's a bulge here. So again, I'm just kind of circling the highlight just lightly. And then I'm going to hit this. So this is dark. Comes down. So let's draw in, where's the terminator here for this? Terminator is right around here. Kind of comes across and it comes down here. And then the bounce light. All right, so just give that a shade first. Okay. So let's see, here's the extreme rim lighting. Down, this part's darker here. Muscle is really deep, hard crease. Again, here's the terminator. So light's falling off here. Here's a light, hits the side, and everything on the bottom right here is just basically bounce lighting. We'll smooth that out because it's a rounded surface, so it shouldn't be too, well, I mean, this one is pretty small, but so basically, you have like a ball, let's say a terminator here, you would have this, or let's say if it's a really flat ball, if the ball is really flat like this, then this would be a little bit tighter, right? Because it's sharper edge. So that's how you would see the difference in the shading. So you go, this one's a little bit more spread out, and this one's a little bit tighter. So this feels wider and this is tight. So on the arm right here, you see there's some, like this part's a little bit flatter, and then this one's a little bit tighter. So it's those little differences right here, the way you shade, that's gonna give the form. And it's just, yeah, it's just a lot of little observations. That's why, you know, drawing these kind of muscles is really good exercise for shading. All right, let's come back up here. So like this part right here is light, and I'm not seeing it because I guess this part's not dark enough up here. So I'm gonna have to shade this in a little bit darker. Okay, so that's gonna help bring out this arm right here. And this part, I guess this whole part needs to be darker, but I don't want to go too dark. I'm just using a 4B right here. I guess I can push in some of the part. All right, so let's come back up here. Let's add in some details. Okay, so now I'm just gonna see little patches here and there. Whatever I can see, and I'll try to add in more detail. So I'm using an image on my phone, and I noticed like last time when I was drawing the Jason, well, Michael Myers head, I thought I had in a lot of details until I zoom in into the picture, and I was seeing all these little subtleties in the face and stuff. So I guess my point is, if your reference is too small, you know, it's like you miss a lot of little things. So hopefully, so if I zoom into the muscle here on my reference, I know I'm gonna be missing a lot, but missing a lot of little details. That's okay. Okay, so let's try to hit that. These veins right here, these creepy veins. So with this, I'm turning the pencil a lot because it's getting really flat when I'm doing that. So I kind of, if I want to hit it harder, I really have to turn to the edge, get a nice sharp edge right here. This part is most interesting part, I think. A little shadow right here. And you know, if I really wanted to, little veins and stuff, you can actually go in, you know, make it nice and flat here, and just kind of take some of it off. I might have to do that later because there's a lot of little veins here. All right, so I mean, it doesn't have to be all that accurate, you know, just a few veins here and there, just enough to sell it. Okay, so the arm here, yeah, again, it's very complicated. Trying to see little patches here and there. And when I do see it, then I'll just go in and just hit it like that. So, you know, a good way of shading is just like that, you know, turn the direction, whatever. Just, if I see this darker here, or this is lighter, you know, just try to see in little groups. It's a little bit easier sometimes. Like right here is darker, so I'm just gonna hit that. See here, oh, there's two. So this part's dark. This part right here is really dark. Shade here, we can let's blend this out a little bit so it's not so abrupt. So here's the hand. So I'll just add in a little line here. That looks really weird. Okay. All right, so I mean, that's more of an artistic expression if you're adding these lines like this or whatever. You know how they draw where some things in shaded and sometimes just line art, and you add that together, and sometimes it's kind of cool, you know. but that's more of an artistic expression, so skip that for now. This part is dark, slightly lighter. Here's the chest in the middle, a little bit wiggly lines. In here, again, back to here. Okay, so sometimes you kind of have to go spread out a little bit, right? Just so you can feel this part a little bit more. Okay, so this is dark, dark. And I'm going a little rougher on the edge right here because, again, remember, anything that's rough or, you know, things like that, we tend to look away from. Like it doesn't draw our attention as much. So it's a kind of a good way to, you know, bring back the focus to this, you know, by having little sketch lines out here, right? Then all of a sudden we're more interested in this. And it almost feels like this is coming out of the page or something. All right, let's see. Okay, so I think that's about it. I mean, I'll go in and, you know, a lot of these little things right here. It's just a matter of how much detail you want to put in. So here's the Terminator. Let's make that a little bit darker. But overall, I think that's about it. I guess I can always add in more veins because there's so many of them. Okay. Right here is a little strange. All right, so, you know, when you're sketching this, just try to, you know, visualize the big forms first. There's one big bulge here, bicep here, chest muscle here, and those are the three main ones, and also the arm, obviously. And then once you have that, what I did was I tried to look in each one, you know, see where the light's going. So here's the Terminator, it's almost like a little ball. And you can sketch in those lines. They'll give you some reference point. And then from there, you can almost just start shading. So here's the Terminator, here's the bounce light, here's the shadow. And we're gonna blend this out because the highlight's right here. So you just kind of take it step by step. So same thing here. Big flat area, here's the Terminator. Everything else right here is bounce light. Right, so we're just gonna give it a shade and then start breaking things, you know, closer and closer in, you know, depending on how much detail you want. But overall, yeah, always start with the major forms and then just keep going in smaller and smaller. All right, so I think that's about it. I might sketch a little bit more, you know, put my head over the drawing and maybe make it a little bit more, I don't know, just push it a little bit more. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy this little anatomy tutorial and shading and drawing. So hope you guys like this, and I will see you next time.